All right. Hey guys. I love the intro. It kind of grounds me right before we start because for those watching, it's been a few weeks and I obviously forgot how to press buttons. So I was a little frantic starting, and then that just kind of brings you back centered, reminding us of why we gather, why we continue to gather with each other. So I've missed you guys. Howard, Peggy, Marcia, it's so good to see your guys' faces. Christina, I know, is watching. Ma, and Brandy. So love you guys. Let's check in. Let's check in real quick. I think I'm going to go ahead and start with Marcia today. Marcia, how are you?
So it's lovely. It's so hot that it's melt worthy outside. So if you see a pedestrian, you want to go save them. Like, are you okay? But I'm good, and I've got some fun stuff to talk about later with an event coming up. So yeah, try and stay positive and be excited.
Awesome. Deb Cruz, how are you?
Hanging in there as always. Trying to get caught up on outdoor summer summer tasks like weeding and whatnot, gardening and whatnot. Doing a lot of reflecting on all of the stuff that's going on, and hopefully we'll be able to come up with some kind of plan as to how to respond. But there's a lot of stuff going on, so it's going to take some thinking and some thought and some meditating and prayers and whatever else is going to be necessary to prepare to start taking some action here pretty quick.
Yeah, we've got a lot of work to do.
Yep.
And as you'll see today, guys, in a whole bunch of different areas. So I do kind of want to tell folks, like, just get your pen and paper out today because we might be talking about quite a few things. And it's hard to do because there's a lot that needs our attention, but it's important to do. So just get your pen and paper. If you hear a topic, write it down, and just know that it's an area that you're going to need to pay attention to. We're going to focus on a few areas today, but there's a lot going on. So you're going to hear us mention some things. Before we get to Howard, though, on a positive report, Peggy Oki, how are you today? Where are you?
Hi, all. I'm in Carpinteria.
How are you? How are you?
So, like, kind of between Southern and Central California. I'm sorry.
Oh, I love it. It's kind of like where in the world is Peggy Oki, because you never know. You doing okay, Peggy? Staying busy?
Yeah, I'm pretty tired, but I keep trudging forward because there's a lot going on that's really important to me. So, and I'm hoping it's very important to a lot of more people too. Thank you.
All right. Howard, let's check in with you first before we get to a report. How are you?
Doing well, thanks. Yeah, everything is so far so good. So it's a lovely day. There's whales in the Hood, literally in Hood Canal, which is right across Admiralty Inlet from us. The T65As, a family of 5 with 2 subadult sons that both of them tend to wander off. Some kind of family dynamics. I don't know what it is exactly, but they do have to keep their numbers small to sneak up on seals and sea lions. So that's probably part of the deal, is that every now and then one of the young sons has to go on a walkabout and find their own food for a few days. So there, I believe all 5 of them are over in Hood Canal. And then there's another family of mammal-eating transient orcas down in the extreme South Sound down by Olympia. So it's fun to watch. You know, there are whales around, and a lot of people are keeping track, and when they can, getting out on the shore to take a look at them. So it's great. But I'll echo what Deb Cruz said about so much going on, so much to think about, try to process and respond to. On the national and global levels. So we're going to be talking about some of that in this particular show. So do you want me to get into the center's expeditions?
Yeah, I would. I think that's a good idea. I want to ask everyone though who's watching, because like I said, I was forgetting how to press buttons. I just now shared to all the pages, so people should start jumping on more. But if you're watching, hit the share button and share to your Facebook group. And then yes, Howard, let's talk about that.
Well, in addition to the daily reports of multiple families of Biggs transients all around the Salish Sea, we had a quick visit by J-Pod. Came in on the 14th, or were seen on the 14th, and departed on the 15th. I think they kind of, snuck around and looked around for some fish and didn't find enough to make it worthwhile to stay. So they went back out, which is out to the western end, to the ocean end of the Strait of Juan de Fuca, between Vancouver Island and Olympic Peninsula. And there's a bank out there called Swiftsure Bank. It's sort of a slightly shallower area, kind of a dome, that is very productive. Lots of all kinds of fish. And it's on the route of all the migrating salmon down to the Columbia. So the entire Columbia Snake River Basin salmon pass right over that fairly shallow area. So that's where the southern residents have been. JK and L Pod have been out on that bank. So the center had a big expedition, a 4-day trip out. So overnighters at Bamfield, which is along the west coast of Vancouver Island, southwest coast. So they could go out onto the bank and search for whales. And the encounter reports are adventures. They're sort of tales of tracking them down, trying to figure out where they are, putting a directional hydrophone in the water. Sometimes on a few days it was very foggy. They couldn't see much, but they could hear them through the hydrophones and get a general direction, and then inch in closer and closer and find them. So they did. Over the course of 4 days, they found all of them. And, the good news is they're all still there, and they're looking hale and hearty. They're finding good food out there. That's not to say that problem solved by a long shot, because that's for now. These are seasonal runs of spring and summer salmon. And there's some other fish out there too. We don't know if they're maybe gobbling up some, they're called black cod or sablefish, but they are definitely getting at least enough to eat for now. No new babies. We'd love to see some more. The latest one was J63, seen in April. And the one before was J62 from last December. And both of them are there and looking good. So the population seems to be intact and doing fairly well. They're working, though. They were spread out in little groups. So that meant the research team had a lot of work to do, too. And there is L25. Ocean sun looking so fine. Yeah. Go mama.
That made my heart so happy. The last time we gathered, we were talking about how it had been a while since she was seen, and there she is leading her pod.
Yeah, she's just gleaming. Looks good. So they did find them all. I haven't seen any drone results or what else they may have found. The encounter reports are fairly detailed, but they're still just the distilled essence of what they did, their movements from time to time, and who they saw, and rights and lefts, and there's a lot of good description there. But they still have thousands of hours of videos and thousands of still photos to go through. They're all just clicking away the whole time. So uh, I'm sure that they're in the labs every day since that trip to go over all of the material that they have to analyze. And it would be really kind of fascinating to just hear uh, the little things that they may have seen, the little interactions, the little, I don't know, touchy feely sessions, whether they came over to the boat or what they were doing. But the overall impression that I got from reading the encounter reports is that they're at work, they're foraging, they're gathering food, and of course they're sharing their salmon with each other, but they're pretty spread out. Um, at least in the times the that the researchers were out there with them, they were busy because they're hunting. They're having to work for their food. I'm sure that they found some times when no one was watching, uh, which is just coincidence. It's not that they avoid socializing in public, but the boats were only out there for a few hours each day. So I'm sure that they found some times to socialize because they're Southern residents. It's what they do. They gather, they party, they do all sorts of rituals and ceremonies that we have no idea what it is, but I'm sure that they did a lot of that too. So it was a great trip. In the new boat, the KCB3, that was just delivered a little over a year ago, and it's an excellent, very sturdy, good, pretty fast, long range boat. So they've got nothing but the finest in research uh, equipment, and they know what they're doing. So they accomplished the mission in fine style. So
Awesome.
good trip.
And I want to remind people that boat, that was a big fundraiser, right, to get that boat. So you like getting these reports and these photos and on these special permits that they're allowed to do that. Continue to support Center for Whale Research, please. And also, if you're not already, this is kind of the wording that they had in that post, but www.whaleresearch.com/sign up. You guys go to whaleresearch.com and sign up so that you can get these notifications of the encounters, kind of a first dibs, right, on getting the 411. And I love when I see an encounter report for Center for Whale Research. So just want to remind people, but they put out there everybody that they saw here on this post. It says, the who from JPod, who from Alpod. But if you go on whaleresearch.com, you'll see others. You'll see a K. They saw the Ks too. And so I know I'm probably saying this to the choir here, but share that information and sign up and keep supporting Center for Whale Research, because without them, we wouldn't be getting this information, and the shots that we're getting and the research that they do is fabulous. So
That's right. And a key to it all is that probably on that boat, I would guess, and accumulated about 200 years of actual on-water field experience with the whales, so that they can really identify them from a distance, just from their knowledge, just from their experience. Dave Ellifrit, of course, is, Dave into fins, as we call him, because he knows every dorsal fin of every orca out there. But also Michael and Mark and the others that are listed on each of the encounter reports are, experts, and it's that expert knowledge, that long-term experience that makes them able to do what they do. I mean, I've kind of lost touch with the Southern residents. I knew them well in the 90s, but it's been a while. And so, if I see a fin, I'm going to have to look it up. They don't have to. They've got it all. Their catalogs are in their heads. So they can find them right away. So that expert, you know, ability to identify whales is really key to the success of these missions.
Awesome. Well, if you got your pen and paper, first thing to write down is www.whaleresearch.com. Go sign up for the newsletter, support them, donate $5, whatever today and more later. So keep supporting them. But thank you, Howard, for that beautiful overview of that last encounter. I'm just so grateful to them and so grateful to Ocean Sun for continuing to lead her pod. She's keeping them alive, right? She's doing what she's got to do.
Right.
And now it's time for us to do what we got to do in all the ways that we can. So today, Peggy, I'm going to turn it over to you to, there was some stuff in Washington. There was a little bit of a stall. We can use that to our advantage. So take it away, Peggy.
Thank you, Annette, and thank you, Howard, for the report. I'm pretty sure I saw that since like a very recent post that the Center for Whale Research from some photographs that they took identified J63, the newest calf, as being a female.
Yes, that's true too. Yeah.
Yes, and oh my gosh, when I saw that L25 Ocean Sun, I'm sorry. It's just like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad she's with us, and she's just an amazing matriarch. So on to what we can do to protect our southern resident orcas, or SRKW, southern resident killer whales. I'd like to share a call to action from Columbia Riverkeeper. This is regarding a couple pieces of legislation, and I copied and pasted that into the chat. Yeah, so there you can scroll through, and so I also put the link into the chat so that if Annette would like to share it, it's the very bottom. So quoting from the Columbia Riverkeeper. These bad bills are designed to block progress on breaching the 4 lower Snake River dams, the most critical action identified by scientists to restore decimated Columbia Basin salmon populations. And as we know, the southern resident orcas depend on these Chinook salmon populations. So this is really crucial for both species. And then, of course, the 135 plus species that depend on the Chinook salmon. So there's an action alert here to call your senators via the United States Capitol switchboard. And the number, if you want to write it down, is 202-224-3121. That's 202-224-3121, and a switchboard operator will connect you directly to the Senate office that you request. There's also a link to contact your Congress representatives. And there's also the action form link that I shared with Annette in the chat. So I hope everybody will consider, because we have to do everything we can. It's I've been so deeply concerned, and I'm so relieved that to see Ocean Sun and that the L pod and J pod appeared, and Center for Whale Research was able to document all this really encouraging news that they're still with us. And so again, if we could, there's that link from Annette, highly important. If people aren't able to, are people able to copy and paste that from the window somehow, or does it have to go into like a comment?
I think if they click on it from Facebook, it'll take them directly there. So
okay,
guys at home, just hold your finger down. If you're on your phone or whatever, just hold it down, hit copy.
Great. Great. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah. And when I contacted Riverkeeper, they didn't have any actual deadline dates, but I would urge everyone to do this, now, do this week, today, because there's more. There's more that I'm going to talk about. And this is one thing that you can do easily, real quickly, to help stop these 2 bills that would prevent the breaching of the 4 lower Snake River dams. So that's that one. And onward to the next topic associated with our southern resident orcas, and everything I'm talking about does have an impact on them. So the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has the Marine Mammal Program, and they are supposed to help protect these various species of marine mammals. Does everybody know here that a polar bear is considered a marine mammal? So, it's just kind of like, wow, so this big, furry, gigantic thing is a marine mammal because they live so much in the water, and it's just fascinating. And they are endangered, or they should be listed as endangered. When I looked up the endangered species listing, they were not listed as endangered. I went, what? And that's something that happens is it takes so long. It takes years for a species, after organizations and people apply to have these species listed as endangered. So that's probably why the polar bear is not listed as endangered yet. But we know the sea otters, we know the manatees, and how they're currently struggling with a lot of like unusual mortality events and things. There's some cute little polar bear cubs. Walrus, walrui. Walrus are also of concern, and so I'm glad that they're supposedly working on this. I guess they're trying, but it's very difficult right now under the current administration. And so next slide, please, Annette.
So just real quick, I just want you guys to know, I did put the link to this fact sheet as well.
Oh, great.
You guys should be able to just click on that and pull the fact sheet so that you have that information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anybody's interested, there it is. Yeah.
All right. This one, Peg?
Okay, onward. So there were a couple of resource pages that I found, and this page had marine mammal species and populations of concern, and I think it's probably in the bottom row. There's the polar bear, Hawaiian monk seal, which primarily dies of bycatch entanglement, the Hawaiian false killer whale, and there we are, second from the bottom down, the southern resident killer whales. Our government is very aware of how endangered these orcas are, and we still haven't seen the dams breached. We will, of course, continue to do everything we can for them, but it's acknowledged by the government on that particular page. And I would like to go on to the next slide, please. So Earth Justice posted an alert to prevent the Endangered Species Act from being gutted. And we know that the southern residents are listed as endangered, and thank goodness that Earth Justice, and among other organizations, Natural Resource Defense Council, etc., many of them, like about a half dozen, have been raising this alarm bell about the Endangered Species Act, or ESA, being under attack. And then so I shared with Annette a screenshot from the government, from U.S. government. Okay, and there's a screenshot from that page of Earth Justice item, listed as number 4 in the list, not by priority necessarily, but just there they are. Most, like it's all over the place, except still, I feel like a lot of people don't know. A lot of the general public do not know. And it's so important that we talk to our friends and family, go, do you know about the southern resident orcas of the Pacific Northwest? And then just share with them, talk about it, and then call them to take action, because this next thing that what I'm talking about is really the largest threat I have seen in my 45 years of activism for primarily dolphins and whales, cetaceans. So the ESA and the MMPA, so the Endangered Species Act, and then if we go to the next one, please. Oh, sorry, somehow that, okay. Is that the last slide? I can talk about it without, we can go back to the other one if you don't have any other slides. I'll talk about what's going on, and then we'll finish it at that one. So what's going on is both the Endangered Species Act, which as I'm sharing from Earth Justice, and the Marine Mammal Protection Act. Those are two different laws, but they're both intended to protect endangered species. One is specifically for the marine mammals that are listed as endangered or threatened, and then the other is for the ESA, Endangered Species Act, is for all the different animals and plants that are endangered. So the list for that one is even longer. But from this list here, okay, sorry, there you go. From this, which is from the Marine Mammal Commission, which is a U.S. government site. They have a list of the, it says here, table below provides a list of marine mammal species and populations listed as endangered or threatened under the ESA, Endangered Species Act, or designated as depleted under the Marine Mammal Protection Act. The MMPA gives special attention to depleted marine mammals, species, and populations. Species or populations are considered depleted if they're below their optimum sustainable population level, or as listed as endangered or threatened under the ESA, the Endangered Species Act. So they're very connected, and they are both at this time under threat. The current government, I do not have the name of the person. Let me see here. Okay. Okay. There is a congressperson who proposed gutting the Endangered Species Act. And we cannot allow that to happen. And then there's another person. So Congressman Nick Begich, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Begich, Republican in Alaska, and he's the only congressperson in Alaska, has proposed significant amendments to the Marine Mammal Protection Act. I've been saying that the world's oceans have become more and more dangerous for dolphins and whales, and pretty much all sea life. Like I said, in my 45 years of activism, and this is the most deepest concern because it encompasses every marine mammal that is listed as endangered or threatened or depleted. And the kind of threats, I'll just real quickly run through them. This is from my letter sent to my congressperson here, and I'm urging everybody to please write messages, contact your congressperson. But I'm going to also share at the end. I'll share right now, and then again at the end as a reminder. My Mads and I of cetaceans.org are working on a page specifically for actions that people can take, and we're asking everybody to take, ideally, the most powerful action, which would be art letters for marine mammals. And of course, you are most welcome, and it would be helpful to include the southern resident letter orcas, include the southern resident orcas in your letter. So that I'll cover that at the very end also, but I want to explain some of the threats. The MMPA is such an important piece of law that regulates any kind of human activity. Things like, okay, we'll start from the shore. There's like some company for example, wants to build a mega hotel on the beach, or even a small hotel on the beach. If there are animals like seals, sea lions, in Hawaii, the Hawaiian monk seal, that would be disturbed by this type of activity. The MMPA is the only thing that will protect them, along with being endangered species status listed. So other threats that are in the water, ship traffic. So that's like ship strikes of boats, and there's the boat traffic in the world's oceans is drastically increased now. Bycatch, by fisheries activities, fossil fuel development, onshore or in in the water, anywhere where it's been determined through environmental impact statements and scientists that we very much need, that could be a threat to them. And ocean noise generated from excessive shipping, pretty much anything that would be considered through environmental impact statements. So I'd like to share a couple of stories about what's happened associated with protecting marine mammals. I did only just through my research recently learned about the they're called the Barataria Bay bottlenose dolphins, and they are a unique population found in Louisiana. So when the Deepwater Horizon spill happened, it says many dolphins in Barataria Bay died, and many that survived could not successfully reproduce. Many of the dolphins that survived also had lung disease, impaired stress response, and other chronic diseases. Now the greatest threat to the Barataria Bay dolphin population comes from building and operating the Mid-Barataria Sediment Diversion Project, and that's in Louisiana. The Marine Mammal Protection Act generally prohibits taking marine mammals absent authorization. It was doubtful that the project would meet the requirements to secure an authorization under the MMPA's existing provisions. So, unfortunately, Congress passed legislation directing the Secretary of Commerce to waive the MMPA's taking prohibition in spite of predicted consequences. Scientists predict a catastrophic decline in the Barataria Bay dolphin population and is expected to be functionally extinct after just 10 years of this facility's operation. So in this case, the MMPA, Congress was able to override that, but it's like so important. The other case that I'll share is by opening the door to expanded industrial activities like oil, gas, and loud vessel traffic. The tragic example of the AT1 orca population that's up in the Prince William Sound area, where they were exposed through that devastating oil spill in 1989, the Exxon Valdez. They are now considered functionally extinct. And so even though we could really use more harder protections with the MMPA, we cannot let the current MMPA be gutted. And that's what this particular amendment would do if it gets passed. We need strong science-based measures like those in the current MMPA that are essential to preventing similar losses. And then I mentioned too in this paragraph to my congressman about the 73 southern resident killer whales. And I'm hoping that we at least can say we have 74 now.
We can.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
74.
So let's, I'm urging everybody to write your congressperson and join us in this art letter campaign, because when you think of what you get in the mail, whether it's a postcard, a printed, letter, a solicitation, sign up for this, versus an actual piece of art, an art letter with a handwritten message with very heartfelt messages about what you love about marine mammals. It doesn't necessarily have to be the southern resident. You could include other marine mammals as well as the southern residents. You can talk about sea otters. You can talk about sea lions, manatees, anything that's any species that's a marine mammal. That this is so urgent. Okay, so on to the Endangered Species Act, which is also being threatened with being gutted. So March 6th, House Committee on Natural Resources Chairman Bruce Westerman, Republican from Arkansas, introduced the ESA, Endangered Species Act, Amendments Act of 2025 to make critical reforms to the ESA. Now, this is a press release from the US government page, and you can imagine under the current administration, the kind of things that I'm seeing, and if you look these things up, you'll see, as I've been also doing research on seabed mining, which the US government also announced about 2 months ago that they're going to open up US waters to seabed mining. So, but back to this particular one about the ESA, I'm going to read from it. The Endangered Species Act has consistently failed to achieve its intended goals and has been warped by decades of radical environmental litigation into a weapon instead of a tool. With the reforms we are introducing today, we can look forward to a future where the ESA works to support continued abundance of America's rich and diverse wildlife. I think they got that wrong there, that last part. I think it should be just abundance of America's rich, right? I don't want to sound political, but I just really, I'm rather disturbed by the current government. And, whatever people's political position, if you love marine mammals, if you love any species that especially is listed as endangered, and like I said, that list is very long. You could look up endangered species list USA and you'll find hundreds of endangered species. And as I said, it takes a long time to be listed as endangered, and sometimes it's a pretty desperate situation by the time they're listed as endangered. Howard, do you know when the southern resident killer whales actually became listed as endangered? Was it about 20?
It was in 2005.
So only 20 years ago. And do you recall the population at that time?
It had climbed to, I believe it was 87 or 88, could have been.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Because it was down to a low of upper 70s. I mean, 79 or 80 in 2001. And they were, the petitions were filed right then. Then it took, like you say, about 4 years for them to finally figure out how to define the population, for one thing, to list them. So they're a significant, a distinct population segment of a subspecies of the resident type. So they had to sort of create a way to describe them, because they're not, they're a population, they're a community, they're not a separate species. But they managed, they figured out the terminology, and so they finally did list them in 2005.
Yeah, hallelujah. Thank you for the information. And so it took 4 years, and the population at like 87, I think you said?
Right.
To finally get the southern resident orcas listed as endangered and under the Endangered Species Act. And if the Endangered Species Act is gutted, who knows what kind of protections will be removed from saving these southern resident orcas. We as activists use this what is this weapon of the ESA instead of as a tool. We use this as an important critical conservation tool, and the same with the Marine Mammal Protection Act. Those two are such important laws that we need to really preserve and keep intact. So please, everybody, please, I hope everyone understands the high importance of this, the far-reaching list of populations of different endangered species also. And so we're working on a cetaceans.org action page for the Marine Mammal Protection Act and the Endangered Species Act, and we'll make it as easy as we can to explain, provide sample comments, and encourage everybody to write art letters. So I'd say, so Congress isn't going to be resuming until September. So let's start now. Start creating some art of your favorite marine mammal. And I think that might be Southern Resident Killer Whales here. Start creating your art and then get ready for roughly a week from now when our page goes live. And if you want to receive a newsletter, I believe I provided a link to Annette for signing up, just to be sure that you get it. Oh, and also, if you're in the TokiTV song group, Facebook group, I will definitely be posting there, and I will try to post around to a lot of the other TokiTV Southern Resident Orca pages when our page goes live. And we're more active on Instagram instead of Facebook with these alerts. And of course, anyone can contact me directly through my Peggy Oki Facebook account. If you're like saying, hey, is that page active yet? But I will be posting about it for sure, because this is just crucial. Absolutely crucial. Yeah. So I think that's about it. And if you would like to go to the last slide, please, Annette, of our webpage.
Of the webpage, yeah. And I was just going to say, guys, if you have not been to this page, I mean, everything is literally at the click of your mouse. And the way Peggy has it set up, it's just it's a great page.
Well, thanks, Annette. I'd like to thank Katie of Sharktopia, who created all these cool downloadable color in postcards and the artwork that you're seeing. Katie Rose of Sharktopia gets the credit for that, and also for designing our website and putting in a lot of most of the work on this. So
yeah, thank you for this.
Yeah, thank you. So you see on the top across, it says home, take action. And then that's where people will go to find our action page when we go live with it. So yeah, and another thing that I'm currently doing is calling for origami fin whales to send to the Icelandic government and urge them to make it a law banning whaling. And we are so much closer to that now than ever before, and we just need to give it that extra gentle nudge in the right direction, and we could see the end of whaling. So I'm very hopeful, and it's just continuing with all these things as we do. So please, everybody, go ahead and start your artwork. Start creating your artwork so that you'll be ready to write your letter and send it to your congressperson to protect the Marine Mammal Protection Act and the Endangered Species Act.
Thank you so much, Peggy. Guys, if there's an action to take, Peggy's going to have a link for it. She's going to make it easy for you. So this is good because there's a lot. Deb Cruz and I were talking about timber and the, just there's just a lot going on. This is very focused and very directly related to the Southern residents. Just even in being placed under the Endangered Species Act, in 2000 started, early and then in 2005, but it took till 2013 for them to acknowledge Toki and to place her under the Endangered Species Act. So I just want to remind everyone that even though something seems impossible, because I think we all kind of thought it would be because, she was in captivity and all this stuff, but it's the actions of everybody that wouldn't give up and wouldn't stop doing and acting and praying for what is right. And she was included under the Endangered Species Act because she was taken and she is part of the Southern residents. So we all know that, but I just kind of want to bring it back to that in the conversation that we're having is it does make a difference. Everybody's actions do make a difference. So please keep doing it. Please keep trying. We got to save our family. It's been, we're almost at 2 years, which is just weird. It's almost been 2 years since she passed. And so we're still doing what we got to do for her family, and we will continue to do so. Everybody will. That we have some events coming up but just we meet all the time, but regarding and acknowledging, especially Toki and her legacy. So Marcia has some stuff coming up, but I want to, Howard, if you don't mind, what do you have? Because yours is coming up Actually, nope. I'm going to go the other way. Marcia, I'm going to go to you first, and then we'll bring it back closer. Marcia, what do you have, and what have you been working on in honor of Toki and her legacy?
So it started off as a kernel of an idea, like most things do, right? And it kind of exploded into something that is just going to be a lot more fun, and it's exciting. So I was introduced to Fred West, who is a music composer and a choral artist, and it's been his entire life that he's been composing. And he wanted to get together and do a concert to not just raise awareness, but try to give, like Peggy always does, actionable things for people to do. And so I'm going to go and just present a talk about Toki and my time with her. And it sort of circles around the yellow wetsuit heart that I gave you, Howard. All of those attributes that we usually attribute to people, I really want to personalize these killer whales, and Toki and her family primarily, like courage and intelligence and honor and beauty and all of those things. There it is. Beautiful. So I'm going to basically create my talk around those attributes and have a story that highlights each one of those. So that's my plan at the concert. And then so I can just read. So I'm sharing this out. It's a little bit of a begging page. I think you have the link. But it's called the Sensation Cantata. And actually, Fred is in the midst of creating the music for it now. But we'd really like, we're kind of doing this shoestring on our own and depending on donations for, rental of the venue and pay the artists and those kind of things. I'm not getting paid for it. So and while I'm there, I'm going to go try to look for some whales. But so, yeah, it's going to be a beautiful night. It's on October 18th. And the venue will be announced once that's all finished being coordinated. But we wanted to put it out so there's enough time for people to see what we're up to and, really just share it and personalize these animals so that people don't see them as just, oh, they're just whales and they live in the ocean and they're fine. They have culture and history and family. And so really shining a light on all of that is my goal with this. So anybody that's watching, if you can share that link for us, that would be fantastic. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Marcia. And guys, I put the link there. It's the one that starts with Zephy.com. Please share that, click on it, and then share it. And looks like I'll be there. Just figured that out a few minutes ago, hopefully. Let's hope that happens. But I definitely want to be there because we can never tire of honoring Toki. And Marcia, I just really want to thank you for doing that in a really cool way and just remind people that you can honor her and provide education in so many different ways, and art's a beautiful way to do so. Thank you for getting creative and finding another way to spread awareness for Toki's family, her legacy. Thanks, Marcia. Howard has something planned coming up as well. Howard, do you want to talk about I had a photo ready to add here and now it's not there, but August 20th, correct?
August 20th. What are we doing?
Oh, let's see. Maybe it's not the 20th. Hold on. It's loading. I don't know what's going on. It's loading. Give it just a minute. You have the Toki's Legacy. 30th. Sorry.
30th. Okay. Yeah. Well, that is going to be the debut of the Toki's Legacy exhibit at the Langley Whale Center. This has been in production, well, really, for more than 6 months. Our in-house artist, Karina Makowski, is designing all of it, and we have a new big screen smart TV that is going to be able to present this whole interactive story of Toki's whole life and all the life surrounding her and the things that have transpired in her life and since her passing, and it's going to be a really exciting exhibit. And I should have sent you a photo of the mural that Karina created that is on the TokiTV ferry. There it is. Well, good. You got it. You're squared away. You're ahead of me. And it is so beautiful. That's 9 feet across and 6 feet high. And so, I mean, and she fills it up and she's swimming down. And, that could be in the Salish Sea. It could be anywhere. So let's just imagine her home in that photo or in that graphic. And if you look close, she's looking at you. She's got her eye on you. And I think Marcia can probably relate to that. And it's just so beautiful. It just is stunning. So that is on the ferry, along with, I think, 4 different panels of different kinds of information about Southern residents and about Orca natural history and her life. There we are. Yeah. It's just a beautiful graphic. Karina has just really outdone herself with this one. So that's on the ferry, and that's permanent. So if you can schedule the TokiTV ferry when you're coming over, anybody who might be coming to Whidbey, do that so you can see this incredible graphic. So that'll be on the 30th of August, and so we'll be celebrating her life and opening a whole new display of interactive knowledge and insights and images of Toki's life. So that's going to be her legacy, and of course with action items, how we can help her family. We know those things. Peggy has gone over a lot of them. So that'll be coming right up at the end of August.
That's awesome. Thanks, Howard. And then we want to also talk about, so maybe on the 31st, then we can, show, maybe do some video or something from the people who are going there on the 30th. And we can talk about that event on the 31st. I think that would be really cool. Karina, if you're listening, send me an email. I might have some video and photos that haven't been shared before that maybe you can add. I think that would be an appropriate place for them to reside. So I'll get with Karina and see how to get her those. So that would be good to have for the 31st. We have some other folks lined up too to come on. So next week we have, is it Derek? I think we have Derek next week. Nielsen, he'll be on. And then we have the following week, we have Jennifer Godfrey. Marcia, you want to give just a quick who she is and what she'll be talking about?
She is a amazing musician. She's a powerhouse of a woman. She's kind of slight in stature, and she plays one of those giant bass. It's really, she's a powerful musician. And at the same time, she's been fighting for the old growth trees all over, Seattle and surrounding areas where, they're just really taking down these great, amazing ancient trees. And she's connecting that to the health of the water and the health of the orcas. And, people need to get that they literally strain out pollutants and garbage and all this stuff as the water is washing down, especially in a rainy city like, Seattle. So she's very passionate about that. And I'm so happy. I'm glad she's coming on because it's not something that most people connect, trees and orcas. And so I think that'll be very enlightening for people. Yeah.
David Suzuki does a really good job of explaining the connection between the trees and the salmon and the grizzlies and things like that. So if you can get a chance to check in with the Suzuki Foundation up in British Columbia. That's another
All
source
right.
to get that information.
Awesome. Thanks, Deb Cruz. So as you can see, we have quite a few things lined up. So we have Derek, and then we have Jennifer, and then on the 17th, which this team right here, and Ma and Christina and Alma's in the middle of the ocean right now doing some really cool stuff, which she'll come tell us about at some point soon. But we, 2 years, as we know, Sundays, the 17th falls on a Sunday. And as we know, Toki passed on the 18th, but on the 17th, 2 years ago, there was a beautiful meeting of her family, as we all know, welcoming her home. And so I would like to reserve the 17th with this team here to do a special on TokiTV. We did the Gathering of Hearts last year. We can show some footage from that, but really just taking another moment. I know we do that often, most of us daily, in our, prayers and moments of silence. Obviously remember Toki, but we'll have a special specific to her and her family again on the 17th. So join us for that. And then we'll have the event there at Langley. So we've got a lot coming up, and it's really, really good. We've had a little bit of a pause. I think I'll just acknowledge for myself, it's been a little tough. Also with the administration and everything just seeming so overwhelming. But sometimes we got to take a minute and get ourselves strong so we can continue on. And I feel like I've had my little moment of that. And so it's time to get back at it. And we all lift each other up, right? We all can't be on our high at all times. So lift other people up, guys. When you see them feeling a little down and you're feeling strong, just lift someone up. If you're feeling a little down and you see someone strong, reach out to them for a hand to lift you up, because that's what it's about. We got to keep going and keep doing all these things. Again, Peggy, thank you so much for outlining things for us in a really easy way on your site. We'll be looking forward to that going up. And as soon as that's up, let us know. We'll post it on all our pages. There's actions we can all take and continue to ask others to take as well. So thank you to this team. Thank you, Peggy. Deb Cruz, you got anything to close?
Be thinking about what you're going to do and make that commitment to do it.
Awesome. Yeah. Marcia, you? Anything final?
Yeah, as far as action, we feel like sometimes we don't make much of a ripple just in our daily lives, but we can, right? So you can choose what you put in your mouth. You can decide, you know what? And I did this probably 5-6 years ago. I just stopped eating seafood. Like, you know what? I just don't want to do it anymore. And I feel better about that. And we have a lot of power in those small decisions. So, I mean, maybe just take a pause. You don't need salmon right now. Maybe we leave some for our brothers and sisters under the waves. You know what I mean? So those conscionable efforts, I think we can all feel better about, feel like we're doing something to help, and it does make a difference. So that's all. We can do it.
Awesome. Thanks, Marcia. And let's see, Peggy, anything you want to say before we close?
Thank you, Annette, for again bringing us all together and organizing all of this, and of course Howard and Deb and Marcia here, and our dear Christina and Ma and Brandy, everybody who is part of this, and all the people that come in and watch because you care. Thank you for watching the show, and please start your artwork for the Marine Mammal Protection Act on Endangered Species. So again, it can be southern resident orcas, and it can be also Chinook salmon and any endangered species that you like to be a voice for. And as a voice in my actions, I also have not eaten seafood. It's actually been something like 23 years or something once I learned about bycatch entanglement, which is a whole other thing. But I also feel that if we can stop eating Chinook salmon, also known as king salmon, and spreading the word, talking to our friends and family about why it's so important to be sure that the southern resident orcas get their food. So Yep. And watch for my post announcement coming up in about a week with the action page so that you can learn more about submitting your letters to your congressperson. And yeah, let's get going with those pencils and paints and things.
Awesome. Thank you. And Howard, I will let you close us out today.
Well, I'm just, Deb Cruz.
Just one thing real quick. If you're going to stop eating the seafood and things like that, that's fine. But if you're going to continue, make sure that the salmon you are eating are coming from the tribal fisheries and the tribal fishermen.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
For that. Well, I was just going to say I'm full of gratitude. Thank you, Peggy, for bringing up all these issues and making them clear and showing us what we can do, and for cheering us on to get those things done. Thank you, everybody. I mean, I appreciate the word about the event coming up in October in Seattle. I definitely want to make that, Marcia. See you there. And thank you, Annette, for rounding us up and making this happen, and just, gathering the forces to make this possible. This is definitely a wonderful Sunday session, and I appreciate you setting it up for us. And also, I was really glad to hear that Jennifer is interested in the relationship between trees and orcas. It's sort of that, ecological consciousness that you can see once you understand that the trees have a lot to do with the health of the rivers, which has a lot to do with the spawning success of the salmon, which has a lot to do with the health of the orcas. So it fits right in together. And actually, the Center for Whale Research and Orca Network have been listed as plaintiffs on lawsuits to block logging operations in the Elwha watershed. We're working with the Earth Law Center on that, and it's a tough scramble battle to keep ahead, but with a crack legal team that has been filing suits and following up, it's we're raising awareness, but it's great to hear that other people are seeing it, and because it's just a matter of understanding, of just seeing that, yeah, those trees are what stabilize and nurture the entire watershed, and so you need to keep the trees intact. With that, it's been a great Sunday. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See you next week, guys.
Everything is connected.
Yes.